November 20th, 2025 Park Board meeting. Do we have any announcements or public comments? Any announcements? Let's go with those first.
Oh, yeah, I do have one. I lied. I meant to say this at the Board of Works meeting. I'll have to do it at the next one, too. You know this, but the public doesn't know this, that 8 of our staff attended the Indiana Park and Rec Association conference last week, I believe is when it was. It was last week. And we won 2 statewide awards at the conference. One was for Franklin Friends, won the top accessibility and inclusion award for programs for people of all ages. They won the statewide award. And then Nick Millspaw that works for us, Nick has worked for us for about 2 years now as a recreation event coordinator, won Young Professional of the Year.
That's great.
For the state. So we were really excited. The cool thing is at the awards dinner, his wife randomly came up and he was trying to figure out why his wife was there.
Yeah.
And because, of course, he was convinced she was there because Franklin Friends won, and she was really there because he won the Young Professional of the Year award. He had no clue that he won, so it was really cool to see him surprised
Oh, that's so
when
great.
he won. So, but Nick does a really good job for us, and we're really proud of him. So.
Well, congratulations on both fronts. We are frequent flyers at Franklin Friends, and JoJo loves it very much. So that's great to hear, and congrats. Okay, so let's talk about the October 16th minutes. Anybody have any questions on the minutes? If not, we need a motion to approve those.
I would make a motion to approve the October 16th minutes.
Do we have a second?
I will second.
Okay, the October 16th minutes are approved. And let me back up, excuse me, I know that we did announcements, but I know we have a couple members of the public here. Does anybody have any public comments tonight? Okay, all right. Well, let's talk about the November claims. We only have a couple. Do we have any, you want to talk about them at all, or just you want an approval?
Yeah, there's nothing exciting about them. Yeah, just
Okay,
yeah.
we've all signed them. Do we have a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
How about a second?
Second.
Okay, November claims are approved. Excuse me, the Human Resources Report. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, this report is really, we're taking a lot of people off our payroll from the summer, so that's mainly what you're seeing there, so, yeah.
It's very reduced.
Well, and I also saw an Instagram post about applications for next summer, so
It's coming up.
crazy.
Yep.
All right, so do we have a motion to approve the Human Resources Report?
I make a motion to approve that report.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, anybody opposed? No? Okay, it's approved. Let's talk about old business. We have a Payne Park Playground project update.
I'll just hit all 3 of them at the same time for you, make it
Okay.
quick. So the Payne Park Playground is 98% done. There's still a couple of things that need to be done on the actual playground. If you drive by, you'll see it. It does have all the amenities there. 2 things that still need to happen for that to be complete. One is it will have an expression swing on there. So that right now it has 2 regular swings. One of those will come down and it'll be an expression swing, which if you recall is when there's 2 swings on one of those. So that still has to be installed. And then the mulch border around it is in, but they forgot to put in the accessible ramp for you to get in with a wheelchair. So that is, they're coming back to finish that too. Okay. That's that playground. I'm going to give you an update. Let me start with Kingsbridge first. Kingsbridge Park, I gave you an update last time. I drove by Monday, I believe. If it wasn't Monday, it was last Friday. And there were 12 people using the playground at 12:30 in the afternoon. So it's already being used. The playground is up and running. I did have a discussion with the developer about the dog park that has been put in there. They forgot to put a double gate into the dog park. So if you know anything about mowers, you got to have a double gate to be able to mow it. So they did agree to put a double gate in for us. But technically, that property will become ours in spring because they're still doing a little bit more. They're still doing some paving of the trail around the playground and that kind of thing. So, but it does look nice if you haven't drove by. The final project update I'll give you is Scott Park. You may have seen the social media post about the professional services agreement with Crossroad Engineers was approved at the Board of Works meeting on Monday. And then the funding was actually approved Tuesday morning at the Redevelopment Commission. So that project is officially started. Lots of things that are in that project. Just the easiest thing to do is go back and read the social media post because there's just a ton of stuff that's in there. All the way down from pickleball courts to basketball courts to ball fields and soccer fields and splash pads and playgrounds and parking for 800 plus parking and all that kind of good stuff. So
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement
yeah,
out there.
got a lot of positive feedback about it, so that's good.
Good. And excuse me, you guys, I just remembered that I did not take a vote on A and B. So let's combine A and B on the consent agenda. And all in favor, we've had motions, they've both been seconded. All in favor on both A and B, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. We have those formally approved now. You can tell I've been in meetings all day. Okay, so and we have new business. We have the 2026-2030 Park Impact Plan to talk about.
Yeah, so if you'll click on that on your iPad, you'll see that this is the updated park impact fee plan for that time period, which is going to be 26 to 2030. Let's start at the beginning. Park impact fees are basically a fee that is attached to a building permit. So when a new home is built in Franklin, the developer is actually the one who pays the fee. I'm sure it's passed on to the people that are buying the house, but it's basically so the new people that come into the community that are making an impact to the park system are paying kind of a fair share kind of entry fee, or whatever you want to describe it as. And then we use that money for capital improvements in the park system. So the money that is collected from park impact fees cannot be used for maintenance. It can't be like replace an existing playground or fix something at the aquatic center or something like that. It has to be a brand new capital expense. A couple of examples of where we've done that in the past would be the large green shelter at Blue Heron Park that you see in the front was a project that was paid for by park impact fees. Youngs Creek Amphitheater was partially paid for with some park impact fees, especially the pickleball courts. Things that we did kind of later in the project were paid for by park impact fees. So the last 5 years, so we've had this plan in place this is probably the fifth time the community's had it, so this is probably in 25th year for park impact fees. Historically, the fee started in the $500 range way back when. This fee, you'll see, is on the front page, is being proposed to be $17.94 per house for single family home. And then $11.66 for a duplex or an apartment unit. I tell you that because over the last few years, we've collected, it raised obviously 5 years ago. We, this year, until 2 weeks ago, had about 336,000 or something collected this year alone in park impact fees. I was just meeting with a group I'll tell you about in just a second, but within the last 2 weeks, an apartment complex that was being built on Upper Shelbyville Road pulled a bunch of building permits, and all of a sudden it went up $240,000 in a day. So now we have $583,000 roughly in that account. Can only be used for capital things. So we'll figure out what projects that could be. Scott Park that's coming up. It could be all kinds of different things that we want to do. One of the requirements for the plan every year is that, according to the state law, we have to appoint a park impact fee committee that will review the fee beforehand. We actually did that at 1:30 this afternoon. There's specific laws. The law basically says who is going to be on this committee. It has to have a realtor representative, has to have a builder representative representing that industry, and then also has to have some community members. And we had 5 people meet today. Les joined us today at 1:30. I appreciate him being there. And then we had a realtor and a builder, and Ken Koski from Festival Country was there. Eric Lugers, Deb Brown-Nally, and Marissa, I can't remember Marissa's last name. Stout, thank you, was representing the builders. So we did that today. We explained the park impact fee plan to them. Man, we could have picked a better 5 people. It was a great meeting. I learned a lot from them, and they learned a lot from us, which is good. But this is the plan. So if for some reason it would happen to change between now and our next park board meeting, I would obviously get that back to you, and you would approve it, because they did have some good suggestions that we want to go back and research before. Okay. But I do want you to at least approve this one, and like I said, if that was changed, I would have you come back and approve it. The reason I say that is because it has to go through 3 stages of this to be approved. One is you, which you'll do today. The next will be on the Plan Commission agenda, which I believe is December 16th at their meeting. And then after that, if it's approved by the Plan Commission, it'll go to the City Council at the first meeting in January. It has to go to that timeline because there's a 6-month cooling off period after it's approved. So there has to be a transition period from fee to fee. So this fee will actually not go into effect until the 1st of July, or I believe it's the 1st of July after that January meeting. So, but our current park impact fee would stay in place, and then all of a sudden they would just switch out each other on July 1st. The money, like I said, if you want, we can get into real detail of this plan. The great thing I loved about this committee today is we got to go through the details of exactly what this is all about. One of the things that requires us to do is to look 10 years out in what the park system and what the city will look like in 2035, which is not the easiest task in the world to do because things move fast. You know, sometimes we're building amphitheaters quicker than we think we're going to, and all those, you know, the senior center got built quicker than we thought it was going to. So it's going to, the main thing of this, the spending wise, is obviously the Scott Park project is coming up in 2026. So some will go to that. But we're also looking at some other projects that might be piggybacked on to Scott Park, and one of those is I've met with an engineering company here within the last week about renovating the aquatic center, because it's been 15 years since we renovated it. Mm-hmm. And like I told the committee today, this is one of the tasks that I have to do is I got to get this thing to last 10 more years, because in 10 years, that swimming pool will actually be 50 years old. Mm-hmm. And that's probably going to be the last of it is 10 years from now. So I'm trying to stretch it out 10 more years, and then maybe in 10 years, if I'm here, we're all here. Hell, Beth probably still on the part. No, I'm just kidding. Beth just got reappointed, if you didn't know, so that's a great thing. And we may have to decide in that time period between now and 2035, are we going to build a new aquatic center in Franklin? Yeah. I don't think we're ready to do it quite yet, because I think we can stretch this one out 10 more years probably. We'll do some maintenance renovations, and maybe we'll add a water slide, or something, add more parking, something. But that's what the initial meeting I had with the engineers was trying to figure out. What can we do on the existing site? Because the 2035 one that's 10 years out was not going to go on that site. We're going to have to find another location somewhere in town for it to go. Anyway, that was the quick and dirty about park impact fees. Like I said, it does require you to look 10 years out.
Well, maybe one thing we should think about is scouting that kind of property. Like if we have that big Scott Park construction, is there property available in that general area that we could encumber in some way?
That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
But you're right. That's something we should be doing now, is doing some scouting and say, where is the potential for this thing to go? Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
I'm only looking at the one restroom for 3,000 people statistic, and that amazes me.
Yeah, so if you love this kind of stuff, really dive into these numbers, because it's really neat, because we have to set standards based on, you just picked up the restroom one, for example. I mean, it has standards for pickleball courts. It has them for all kinds of different things, shelters and...
Yeah, we look like we're in really good shape in a lot of these, but
yeah,
that restroom just...
But there are definitely some we're not, right?
You're a woman, and you've stood in that line.
You got it.
Right.
That gets your attention.
Tammy needs another restroom.
I do. I need my own.
And then the final thing I want to tell you about the park impact fees is, if you'll scroll to the very last page of that document, It's the one that's got color on it.
There we go.
What that is that's a comparison of surrounding communities and how we. This is what we had a pretty good discussion about at the meeting earlier today, was how we compare to other communities. And currently we're at 1142. The proposal is to go to 1794, and you see, according to all those other communities that are fairly close to us that have park impact fees, that we're still by far the lowest. So.
Wow.
We discussed this at the meeting today because Peters Franklin, the municipal consultants here in town, are the ones that created this, and we specifically didn't put Carmel on here because it almost didn't fit on the page because their impact fees is in the $8,000 range compared to our 1,700. So,
That does not surprise me. You got to pay for those roundabouts.
but it gives you an idea where we compare to other places. Obviously, the closest one to us is a Greenwood, and there's just 2784. So.
That is interesting.
Why is Greenwood, is it the Greenwood pool, or
It's the whole park system.
why is it so much more expensive?
They
I
just.
think they've got a lower draw, to be honest.
It
I
may.
mean, you think about it,
they-
they're a much smaller
So you gotta remember,
community.
yeah, it's based on all those, they're gonna back up here.
So it's totally census-based?
Yeah, it's
is
based on
what
all
you're
those,
saying.
all those, what we consider to be those ratios, that service ratios that we want to hit.
Okay.
And obviously, they're a bigger community too, so that I'm definitely going to, for example, I'll just use you see it on ours, outdoor swimming pool, the standard is 1 for 25,000 people. Well, I mean, they have, almost 90,000 now, and they have one pool. So, I mean, their standard may be different than ours, so.
I see.
But we set those standards. Those are local ratios that we would set, so. They just may have theirs differently, so.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions? All right, so do we have a motion to approve this
Are we
park
approving
implant?
the fee? Is that what we're approving?
Yeah, the
Okay.
plan, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I make a motion to approve that fee
Okay.
suggestion.
Second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anybody opposed? No. We have the park impact plan fee has been approved. Okay, let's talk about the 2026 meeting dates.
Those are just suggestions, so they don't have to be, we can literally meet anytime you want, anytime, any day, doesn't matter. Those are just, that's what we're currently doing. Those are the same days we currently meet, 4 o'clock, if you want to meet at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, no, I don't care less. Our park board meetings used to be at 7 o'clock at night before.
I remember that.
Yeah, you were on when we did 7, yeah. So it could be anytime we want. So if you want to look at it, if you're good with it, we'll approve it now. If you want to go look at your calendar and find what might be better for you, and
How about it, you guys? I like this. Do you guys like
I
it?
like it.
Yeah.
I do. I like the
Okay.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve it.
Second?
I make a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
you guys make it
We've
too
got
easy.
our meeting schedule. Hey, I'll be retired, so
Hey,
I will be able to go.
She can eat at noon. No.
I can. Okay, so now we're moving on to department records. Holiday closings,
Yeah, just-
Thanksgiving, Christmas.
yeah, I just wanted to let you know that those are the days we're going to be closed for, those are city holidays, so we're going to be closed the 27th and 28th, and the 24th, 25th, and 26th, just so you know.
Okay.
It's here.
Downtown holiday lighting, December 6th. Did I say department records?
It was close enough. We knew what you were talking about.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Today has been crazy.
We knew what you meant.
Breakfast with Santa is December 13th,
Yep.
so those are going to be some fun days for the community.
Coming up, yep.
All right, let's talk about financial reports, athletic and rec fund.
So I have both of, these are the two that we have. Obviously, the one that's filled in all the way to the end is last year, and then the one that doesn't have December on it is this year. That way you can always do a comparison if you want to. I will tell you, right before I came here, we got a check for $16,500, so we already beat last year's November. So I just didn't
Yay.
have time to print it off to you. So, yeah, we're still doing great financially, so,
All right.
as far as Athens Rec goes.
Parks and Cemetery Fund report.
Those are interesting reports because it's the end of the year for us. So we really have hardly any money left. But that's how it works in parks. We spend our money weirdly in parks. Obviously, we spend a lot at the beginning because we're getting parks ready for summer and all that kind of stuff. And then at the end, we hardly have any left. I will tell you that thank goodness for there was a mistake made in the finances we got billed for something in May that wasn't ours, so we got the money back, and miraculously it helps us get through the end of the year. So thank you whoever did that. Just helped us. So
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. All right, is there anything else you want to add about the goings-on at the parks?
Nope. Doing really well.
So we are getting to park board comments. Does anybody on the board have any comments, any questions for Chip?
I actually do have a question, now that I think about it. There was a recent, and I think Les might have helped post this, about our last meeting that we had and some of the things that we approved. And one of them was the increase in fees for next year.
Yes.
And also it talked about the cemetery hours. And there was a person that commented, and I started to comment back, and I thought, I'm gonna hold my cue here, because I want to make sure. They were upset about the cemetery hours that were posted. They said that's not fair for people who work, but I thought, but you can go to the cemetery
saw
at
it.
any time.
I saw the same comment you did.
Yeah, okay. So was there a misunderstanding that she would, I mean,
No, there's a huge misunderstanding, yeah.
okay,
So those times have to do with funeral directors. It doesn't have to do anything to do with the public. It has to do with what time a funeral has to be in the cemetery. And
Yes. Okay.
Because somebody posted, I saw, it says that, I don't know if she assumed that you had, those have to do with opening and closing of a grave. So obviously the digging of the grave and then
yes.
putting the dirt back
Okay.
in. Does it have anything to do with when your funeral
When
is?
you can go and pay your respects
No,
to
it has
somebody.
nothing to do with
Okay.
that. Has everything in the world to do with when are they gonna, when a funeral is done, obviously they're gonna put everything back in place. We're not gonna do that at 8 o'clock at night because our people would be paid overtime and then it would obviously
Yeah.
cost a lot of money and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So that was some confusion on that poster.
Or
so,
if you want to go
I think.
and look for a plot to buy, you obviously are going to do that during
Right.
normal business hours. Okay, thank you.
And by the way, the irony is those haven't changed in 50 years, those times. Those are the same times they've always been, so.
Well, maybe she
That was the thing
reading
that didn't
with
change.
the hours,
Yeah, I think.
the
she- yeah,
cemetery
yeah.
hours, and
I think she
got a little
completely misconstrued
confused.
that.
Yeah. Well, good, we've cleared that up.
Yeah, that was the thing that didn't change on the whole thing was that. So.
And that's what she
Very
zeroed
good.
in on.
I do have a fun fact. We have been doing a mussel propagation project
yeah.
statewide. I was down in Sugar Creek, and we found a number of freshwater mussels. But then we went right behind the cemetery to kind of look to see if we could find anything just visually, and we couldn't. It was pretty deep back there at the time, so it was harder to look, but we are going to be doing some fish shocking back there to see if we have any of the host fish we need for mussel propagation, so we could put them, maybe put something back in the future
Be awesome.
if we
Yeah,
wanted
cool.
to. So
Neat.
it was kind of fun. The folks who worked at the cemetery were very accommodating. We parked our truck there and kind of made our way down and
That was so cool.
got in the water,
I
so.
told him you were coming.
You did, I know. He was like, I'm not in charge. I said, I just want to know where you want me to park. That's okay.
Tell me what I'm.
He was very nice.
Did you take the mussels home for dinner?
You cannot take mussels home. Do not take mussels home for dinner, y'all. So keep them where they are. Okay, so I think we're ready to adjourn for the night. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?